So you start the business. Would you like to describe almost your journey from, I guess, starting off to, have you got 6 people now, or did you say 8?
8.
So what was the kind of, what was that journey like? How did you find it? How did you know when you had to recruit your first person? All of those kind of, what was the journey like?
Yeah. So, like, the company that I was at, I realized I was getting towards 10 years there. And, like, I was a bit frustrated with where we were going and what my role was in all this. I wanted to do so many things. I could see what we could become, but I was really, really sort of baffled by it. And I'd, I don't know, at that point, I'd always struggled with the idea of doing something myself because it was something that other people did. But my wife planted the idea flat out and just said, "What if you did it?" Like, just challenged me. What if you did it? And then, yeah, about 6 weeks later, I've worked my notice and I'm working from home. So the starting it was the biggest culture shock that I've ever had in my life. It to me it messed with my system more than like having kids.
Wow.
And that change of your life, because all of a sudden then it's like everything's very real and everything's on you, and nobody's gonna do it for you. And like,
There's no
I just
rescue
remember
boats
that.
coming, I think is
Yeah,
the term.
I
Yeah.
think if it's and it also shows like that if it's successful, it's only successful like in this moment.
This
Like
month,
tomorrow,
that 1 month. Yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of like it's liberating. It's really, really liberating, and it's one of the most exciting things I've ever done in my life. Like, we've talked at home about, oh, well, could we have done it sooner? And we had, no, no, everything just went like that, and that was the moment
I,
that it had
I
to happen.
I agree with that. It's almost in hindsight, it seems like it was serendipitous and it was always meant to happen. But
Yeah,
actually, like, because we had a chat in the canteen before, the front of your building. And,
yeah,
when I was like at my crossroads and I was trying to decide what to do. And it was just, at a certain point, you have to think, sod it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it because what's the worst that's going to happen? But
yeah.
I think that's also what people find interesting, because one of the things that used to annoy me, or it still does annoy me sometimes, it's when people only tell the perfect, the perfect version of what happened, and we changed the world, and we scaled, and we did. But actually, it's all the, it's when things go wrong, and just the honesty behind the journey. So how did you know when to recruit your first person and actually like build a team? Because for
Yeah,
me, the responsibility to actually take on other people's livelihoods is, it's a big emotional jump. And it's, I really kind of applaud anyone that's kind of done it. So I'm just interested in that kind of process for you.
yeah, sure. So, like, we went live in the May, and then by the October, we were doing okay enough for Paul and my wife to join the business, because she'd been working in the background. So that was a big sort of like, oh, okay, so this is responsible for every penny that comes into our household. Okay. But by this point, we're hitting our peak season, which is like the run up to Christmas, like end of November, and I was working like from 5 in the morning till 2 in the next
Wow.
morning,
Wow.
uh, and it was that thing of going, this is fine for now, but this isn't sustainable. And we did two things. The first was that we'd started working with an illustrator, and we were like, well, actually, this is something that like you can start planning and all the rest of it for the projects, and I can shoot them and cut them and everything else. Great. And we got them in like just really small steps, and we went like they were in for 2 days a week.
Hmm.
And fortunately, because I was Teesside Uni alumni, I'd been in touch with them about the graduate programs and all this sort of stuff, and we'd had a bit of success the year before when I was at the old company, and I think he's still there. That the lad who we brought in as an apprentice or a graduate placement or something like that, like, just came in and ran with it, and you were like, brilliant, this can work. So fortunately, we got a filmmaker, and it was just like, it was one of the toughest things ever. So we weren't responsible for paying them for those 3 months, but we were responsible for filming their day and for giving them tasks and for bringing them through. So it was a very strange time, because it was almost like, well, we've got a team now of 4, but in 6 months, we don't know if we're going to be able to keep supporting this or whatever. But it showed me that it's like, as people are filling those roles, that they do something that, well, they can do something really interesting, which is surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden they start reflecting the company back to you, and like pretty much confirming what you think you've set up and what you think this company is, and that they start caring about the jobs that you bring in, or that you've had a good day, or that we've gone and shot some stuff that's really nice, or that someone's really happy with this film and things like that. So that was a really easy way of doing it, and I think it takes a lot of the stress off of when you're in that position. Whereas every hire subsequently hasn't had the same dilemmas around it. It's got those little, do we want to do this? Because, you know, if we bring somebody in, then we're changing the dynamic of the team, and we're looking at how we manage this, and the amount of work that we've got to do, and what their skills are, and all this sort of like logical stuff. But the whole thing of like, well, do we want to be responsible for them, has gone. Because we're quite comfortable with, well, this company does better the more people that are able to bring ideas to the table and contribute. So it's quite interesting to sit here now, 6 years in, and it's like, we're looking at what we're going to do in the future and stuff. And it's like, yeah, if we need to hire a bunch of people, it doesn't faze me.